I'm Miguel Pérez Ayuca, and I'm an engineer working for the European Space Agency. Lunar eclipses are quite a common event, so they happen more or less twice per year. It happens when the moon is shadowed by the shadow cone of the Earth, and the sun, the Earth, and the moon are kind of perfectly aligned in space. So today I'm going to show you a bit how we image such eclipses. The best moment, the moment where the total eclipse occurs, is a bit longer than an hour. In that moment, it's not completely dark, the surface of the moon. What we see from Earth is a glow in pinks, pink color, red colors, orange color, very beautiful. It's really the view of all the sunsets and sunrises that are happening in the Earth at the same time, projected into the surface of the moon. So it's a very unique event and very beautiful. So we have three setups. We have a very basic setup that is basically a tripod and a camera with low magnification. We have a second setup that is also camera and a tripod, but this camera has a photo lens, so we have a higher amplification of the image, or magnification of the image, so we can see the moon bigger in our CCD. And this is the, let's say, the more advanced setup, where we have a real telescope, full telescope, with a camera as well attached to it, taking the images. So for the very basic setup, we have a tripod, so that it gives stability to the image, and a camera on top. Probably a 35mm lens, so that we can see an ample area of the sky, and we will just leave the moon drift, and then we can compose a nice image with all the moons progressing and how the eclipse progresses. For the a bit more advanced setup, so with this type of telelens, that is something between a normal camera lens and a telescope, we can have magnifications of more or less, well, this one is 500mm, so we will have the moon that is probably a quarter of the image of on the CCD of the camera. Again, we need a tripod for stability of the image taking, and now we are going to use a device that will take the images for us, so that we don't need to touch the camera. These devices have a timer, and you can say every minute take an image of the moon. For this specific setup, as you see, it doesn't have any tracking device, and it has quite some magnification on the moon. So the moon will move really fast. So you will have to be adjusting the position of the camera by releasing the knobs of the tripod and tracking it. As well, the exposure times cannot be very long, because you will really see a bit of the blurring as the moon moves in your CCD. So for the penumbral part of the eclipse and the early partial eclipse, you can use exposures of 1 millisecond up to maybe 10 milliseconds. That should be good enough with a fixed setup. For the full eclipse, total eclipse, you will have to expose a bit more, so probably up to 100 milliseconds. So there you might start seeing a bit of the blurring, and that's why if you want really sharp images of the moon, you need to go to a mount device, like the more advanced setup that we have, in which we are really tracking the moon. So we need a telescope that has a quite large aperture, so we can have images that are very short exposure times to avoid any blurring for the atmosphere. So in this case, we have a kind of 1 meter focal length telescope with 25 centimeters aperture, and we have put again a reflex camera, and we'll start exposing at a regular interval. We use again an intervalometer, so a device that will allow us to not touch at all the device while the event happens. In this case as well, we have mounted it in a mount. So the mount will we will set it up such that it tracks the moon as it progresses in the night sky. So we really will not have to touch even the tripod or any of the device during the observation. With this type of device, you will get the best images of the moon. The moon will change quite a lot the brightness during the eclipse. So we will start really bright as the full moon, and will slowly dim its lights. So you will need probably to be changing the exposure time of the image. And remember that it's a slow event, so it takes it takes 5 hours for the full event to develop. So you will have time to do tests on your camera. So the best is that you try several settings until you reach an image that you like, and then you continue with that. The eclipse occurs in the night, if that's clear. So it's important that you have warm clothes. Also, it's interesting if you can have some buffers that you can put on your lenses, because the dew and maybe ice, you can maybe have condensation on the lenses. So with that you will avoid quite a big part of it. Remember as well to have your batteries ready before the event, so fully charged batteries, your SD card fully empty. You can also image the moon from inside your house if you feel like better to be inside of the house through a window. So the moon is very big, it's 0.5 degrees in the sky. So you will have some blurring of due to the thermal movement of the atmosphere, especially you have difference between the inside and the outside. But in general, the moon is big, so you will have pretty good images also from home. Of course, you will need to check first the weather forecast. We depend on the weather to take the nice images, or in fact to have any images maybe. So I wish you all clear skies. Yeah, have a great observation of the moon.